Okay, I feel like I've been cheating on you a bit because I have been down here in the garage and my phone battery was flat and I just cracked on, and so I haven't filmed anything. But as you can probably see, I've done many things. So intake's gone at the front, radiator's gone, fan cowling's gone, heater box is gone. I've also gone through and pulled out all the wiring as far as I can. I've got a little bit to do through the wing here. Some bits of the Hornet section will go through here. And I've basically unwired the car. Now I've kept the things that I think I need. Brake fluid reservoir, for example. This might sound really silly because you think I might remember what all these are. Trust me, you don't. Because sometimes it can be ages between between sessions working on the car. So interior fan, for example, and you can see other bits here which are otherwise probably scrap. Very gently left there. So these are bits for the original Zetec engine that come out the side of the fuse box. But again, I've wired them just in case I need them, or in case I need the plugs for something else, so I can cut them off. Fuel line's disconnected, water line's disconnected, oil breather's disconnected and that's been removed. All stripped out, ready to go. One thing about having the engine bay stripped out is I can start to mock up where things are going to go. Now you have to excuse bits and bobs that I've wedged in here to try and hold things apart, but the airbox I think mounts around about here, looking at it through to the wing. So I'm going to need to just work that out exactly, but somewhere around about there, maybe slightly higher at the front. There's like a little intake that comes in here. I can't quite work it out yet, but hey, it must be there, something like that. I'll have a look at a picture of the diesel vehicle that these come out of. So we've got the intake here, for which we're then going to need to have the MAF sensor and a bit of a turn to get up to here somehow. So I've got to work that out yet, but anyway, there we go. Ideally, we don't want that to go through a really tight turn. The heat shield for the ST170 engine, it turns out fits perfectly. I say perfectly, need a little bit of modification down there by the front mount starter motor. You'll probably just about to see, maybe just about to see down the bottom. Effectively just bent that around with a pair of long nose pliers. But it lines up anyway perfectly with the holes on the top of the manifold, and I don't think you can quite make it out, but also the holes on the front, so that would fit. Now the rad is out, as we know, but it's trying to work out exactly where this goes. I think this is about here, so whether it need to have a little bit more modification or what yet, I'm not sure. I might have to refit the rad just to work this out, but I reckon we're going to have another centimetre or so of extra play, just because underneath here there's a little spacer plate that holds the manifold off, because it was just too close before when this was in its original guise. So yeah, that's allowed me a bit of chance to do that. I'm going to heat wrap the manifold, but it just doesn't look too OEM, so this will allow me to cover it over. I'm hoping this will refurb up okay, or whether I can get another one. So you can see there's a little bit of enlargement of these holes here. I mean, some repair washers I think I can probably live with on top of that, and then just nip those down using some stainless steel Allen cap heads or something similar. I reckon that would probably look okay. Well greased up, lots of copper slips, so if I ever need to undo them, then I can at least get it out. But yeah, I like the idea of being able to fit that in there, make it look OEM, have this airbox which is collapsed currently into the car. You can see I was trying all manner of things to try and wedge it also in here, just so it looks really as standard as I can possibly get it. I've recovered a few bits from the engine bay. Some things are ruined, like this rad, which is leaking. So I've ripped these out, which I don't think are the original cowling mounts. I think I must have nicked those off of something else. I can't remember now. But anyway, that's leaking both sides. So as you can probably see, it's all damp there. No good. This is the alternator heat shield, which I think came off the car originally when it was a CVH. So this needs a slight modification. You can see I've drawn roughly where I need to take the corner off. I think I'm going to neaten it up and come across as like a reinforcer inside here. So I think I've got to just take off that corner with the angle grinder, maybe fold it round to try and make it look a bit neater, cut it in and just tidy it up. But I quite like the idea of keeping that. And the alternator bracket, which is here. You have to excuse me there, just fumbling with my phone. Again, I think is off the original car as opposed to being off of the Z-Tech engine. And it looks like I've made a modification here to allow it to fit the alternator that I wanted, and to be able to get it on and off without having to slide the bolt out and hitting the bulkhead or hitting the manifold by the looks. And by using those two, but it's clearly worked because it's been on there for 10 years, so good. So they need to all be cleaned up and painted, and then fitted to the new engine and the alternator. There's just bits everywhere, everywhere. That rubbish K&M banana, which is going in the bin. Heater box. In front of the heater box, actually, whilst I think of it. If you've got one of these, let me know. A couple of little scratches. I need a new one of those, and you can see I've mounted the breather catch can to it. I'm just about to remove and tuck away. But yeah, that's got scratched somehow, somewhere. I can't remember when. I think I'll probably give this a bit of a clean up. But it's all working. This is the blur fan, in case you're wondering. Down other end of the garage, my rubbish cam cover paint job. I need to sort that out, and I've managed to retain the original bolts. Move that out of the way. For the mount for the alternator. You must be able to get blue touch-up paint because I think they're quite cool with the blue. So I think rather than replace these with stainless, I think I'm just going to paint them back up in the original blue. We'll see. I want to hurry up and get this down now off the stand. Get the cam cover sorted. I'd be half tempted to get a new one if I could, but they are a lot of money. And yeah, change that end seal. Get some of these bits up off the floor. So clutch kit, etc. down there, and just get the whole car back together again. So I've just cleaned up and dry fitted this, just for my own sanity really. And yeah, it hits the water pump. That's a problem, isn't it? So not really sure what to do here, whether to grind that away and again risk something, either not having enough support or to look at alternative options. I guess you could space it out slightly. Kind of tricky to see. Not too sure. The alternator itself though has cleaned up relatively well for a quick wipe over. We'll have another look at that. I'm sure I can probably do something with it, make it look a bit tidier. But that's come out relatively well, I would say. A bit more work to be done. A bit of a build up of grease, and that needs painting. There's also a little lump taken out of this pulley somewhere, just there. I don't know if you can see. So I'm just going to run a file down it to make sure it's okay so it doesn't catch the belt. I mean, I guess it must be okay because it's run on the other car for 10 years. Well, I say the other engine on the car. Well, the curiosity got the better of me and I decided to mock everything up just to see how it fits. And despite the fact the bracket needs to be sorted, it does seem to align okay. So we'll have a look and see. Maybe space is the answer, I'm not sure. This isn't tensioned, this is just finger tight really. It is tied across there, but still, you can see, well, I guess where the hose used to be. It's, yeah, I guess clearance is clearance, but I'm not sure I'm happy with that yet. Really not sure. I think some people used to cut these off and weld them at a different angle. I guess we'll see. And that's it for me for now. Time to go in. It's really late. It's Simply Ford show tomorrow at Bewley, so I'm going to go and enjoy that in the Focus ST, I think, rather than the car with no engine in it. But there you go. At least we'll be able to get down there and enjoy it with the family. And I'll be back up here before you know it, I'm sure, or possibly in several months' time. Who knows? What I do know is I need to get everything out because I've started to forget some of the things that I've got. Lay it all out, work out what I need, and go from there. Next step, I think, for me, is probably taking off the suspension, everything else, drive shafts, that kind of stuff, separating those from the car at the front, lifting it up, and then I can basically drop the engine out once the exhaust is removed. Exhaust out, clean up the clean up the manifold. I need to have a look at the flexi just in case it's blowing, but certainly the sort of the outer flexible part of it is not looking too clever. And then yeah, lots of grinding and bits, either for this bracket, for the heat shield, for all kinds of bits and bobs, and sort out the cam cover. Engine out, split it apart, clutch, rear main on this one, get it all back together again, get it ready to go in, paint the engine bay, put it back together again, get it wired up, hope it starts. Sounds easy, doesn't it, when you say it like that? But hey, stay tuned for more. Like and subscribe, all the rest of it. You can find us everywhere else at UK Motor Talk, on the socials, here on YouTube, and of course our podcast.